You can't teach feel. Sometimes it's one of those things you really got to work at, and you need to help yourself by immersing yourself into the music that you're playing. Whether it's jazz, whether it's speed metal, whether it's punk rock, whether it's soul, funk, whatever. You got to listen to a lot of that type of stuff and try and figure out what's going on. You know, it's funny, I had a thing that kind of happened to me a few years back. I was listening to the band I was playing in at the time. I was sitting in with the pipe corps. They were going over some new tunes for the competition season, and they were sitting around playing their chanters. And, you know, some of the guys will be playing their chanters, you know, they're at a table, and they'll have the chanter, you know, kind of resting on the table. And so it was like just this epiphany moment. What I started cueing in and listening to was the slight vibration on the table that their fingers would make hitting the chanter, which would reverberate through the table, and you could hear it. And so quite literally, you're hearing all the big accent notes. Now, when you're following more the melody line, you're gonna kind of just hear those clear as day if you take the time to just relax and sit in and listen and repeat. Keep doing that, and eventually it's just going to sink in, and you'll hear it. It's tough because it's not necessarily one of those things that there's no manual. You can't just learn. You can't just automatically learn how to have good feel or what do I listen to. But it's just like listening to a pop song on the radio. The first time you hear it, you know, there's going to be something about that hook in the chorus that, like, why do I like this song so much? Man, I can't wait to hear it again, you know? And then you hear it again, then probably after the fifth, sixth time, you're singing along to it because you know the words to the chorus. And then once you know the words to the chorus, you start picking up on the verses, and then pretty soon you know the whole song front to back without even hearing it on the radio. It's the exact same thing. My approach with the pipe bands is sit in, immerse yourself, hit it again. And then pretty soon it's just in there, and you'll just be able to start reaching in, and just the notes will just kind of all of a sudden come into focus, and you'll just be able to pop them out. But that was a big thing that was interesting to me, is I just kind of suddenly clued into hearing all the big notes on the chanter, just kind of, and if you really cue into that, you'll be able to hear that sitting around the practice table. You got to understand at least a little bit what you're doing before you get in there and start giving it a go and start trying it. It's something that is constantly evolving. It's something that you're constantly going to be working at. I think that's kind of one of the most frustrating and beautiful things about music, is that we're never going to play anything perfectly. But it's you know, it's the journey more than the destination. It's the pursuit of trying to play things perfectly, knowing you're never going to play it perfectly, but trying to get as close to it as possible. It's like every time I play, I want to play like Slot. Every time I play, I want to play like Field Marshal. Every time I play, I want to play like Power. I want to play like Inverary. I want to, like, the list goes on and on. Who are your favorite bands, you know? I want to play like them every single time. Am I going to? Maybe. Probably not. But it's trying to get there. All of this has to do with feel. How do you get that feel? Well, it's like, again, immersing yourself into it and listening to the pipe tunes, listening to the snare drum scores. You know, you can play triplets. You know, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, or you can play. You know, it's picking out these little things. When you're playing jig time, it's not just about, you know, da 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 da. You know, they don't play the pipe tune like that. Ba da na 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 na. That's like, you know, hoedown music. You know, there's melody there. You want to put some of those things feel-wise into your playing. It's not just you know, that kind of thing. Put shape to the things that you're playing. You've already done the work and learned how to play triplets and things like that. You know what a paradiddle is. you can pick those apart now and give it some kind of shape. It can't just be monotonous and all the one volume, all heavy, all too weak, all right in the middle. These are things that all come down to, in my mind, to feel. And it's like, it's a weird topic because you can talk all day long about it, but how do you actually verbalize it? Again, it's kind of just immersing yourself in the music and knowing how to give it some kind of shape, some kind of depth. There was a moment, I can't remember what year it was, I was probably playing in like grade 3 at the time or something. And I was doing well on the solo boards as a solo snare drummer. And I was winning the prizes and everything was great. And I thought just everything was amazing, But I was playing the drum parts, When I picked up, it's going to sound really, really funny. It's going to date me too. But when I picked up the brand new copy of Grace Notes by Rab Matheson, of course, Shots were like, they were like one of the bands that you were like, yeah, man, Jim Kilpatrick, duh, obviously. When I heard that was probably the first time, even though I know there was a lot of bands really killing it on the ensemble front. When I heard that, I don't know what it was, but when I heard that album and just for some reason something clicked and I was able to hear the Highland bagpipe with other instruments. It's funny because it wasn't even necessarily so much like the tracks where Rab was playing with Jim, which, I kind of heard a lot of those before on Shots recordings and everything. I've heard the legendary Highland wedding set. I was familiar with knowing what the score sounded like and all that stuff. But it's like there was something about listening to pipe music with other instruments, with drum kit, with bouzouki, with, bass guitar and all this stuff that I think kind of shifted my thinking into, I need to think about how this pipe banding thing works as a ensemble type thing. So that was a big one for me. That just kind of flicked a switch in my brain. You can't teach feel.
It's not in a bottle at Costco.
Man.
It's not at the library.
It'd be so handy if it was, right?